Blessings. I am Reverend Douglas Taylor, and I welcome you to another episode of Digging Deeper with Reverend Douglas. In each of these episodes, I respond to a question, and sometimes, delightfully, I have a special guest who joins me. Today, we have my son, Keenan Taylor, who's a member of the congregation and part of the young adult community. Today's question is something that comes up from the young adults. It is, what is the eighth principle and why does it matter? So first, let me briefly, in case you don't know anything about Unitarian Universalism, we have 7 principles that we affirm and promote. We call them a covenant. They're language about not what we believe, but how we're going to be together. And the idea of having an 8th one is has gained some traction over the past maybe 2, 3, 4 years. So here's the language of the 8th principle so that you can hear what it is. We, the member congregations of the Unitarian Universalist Association, covenant to affirm and promote journeying towards spiritual wholeness by working to build a diverse, multicultural, beloved community by our actions that accountably dismantle racism and other oppressions in ourselves and in our institutions. So that's a pretty specific language that's written in there. And what do you think is exciting for young adults? Why do you think there's so much energy for this 8th principle?
Well, the directness, I think, is a lot of the appeal. The majority of the principles are pretty open-ended, pretty passive voice in their description, and that's intentional. That's done so that they can be applied to a lot of situations. It is something that is supposed to be kind of timeless. But the thing that appeals to a lot of young adults that I've talked to about this principle is its directness, its focus. It is more pertinent to this context. It is not maybe worded in as such, again, a timeless way, but it is, the issues aren't timeless. These are issues that it's addressing that have been around for centuries. And so,
but in singling out racism, I think that it's one of the critiques against it is that it focuses on one injustice. And it doesn't, actually. I think that when it says racism and other oppressions, it is naming that. But I think that there's an interconnectedness, an interaction that happens among the various injustices that this one lifts up. And I think that that's something that most youth and young adults have been talking about a lot, is that there's, just gay rights is not enough. You need to have a broader umbrella, and just the environment is not enough because people of color and poor people are impacted more strongly. So I mean, the specificity of it is really actually pretty exciting.
I think that the specificity also adds a bit of weight to it, a bit of strength, and that's again part of the discussion around the Black Lives Matter movement. Yes, it's more than just a issue within the Black community, but the argument in favor of that specific language is that Black Lives Matter it's a strong name, it is a strong movement. You don't break down a door with a pitchfork, you break it down with a battering ram. So I think that this principle, having a specific direct language, sort of applies with that same battering ram mentality of you're not going to get a lot of support for a movement if it's 3 paragraphs long of disclaimers, and also, again, this will open the door. That's kind of, I think, part of the appeal to a lot of young adults.
It gets it started. It's a call to action. I will need to do another digging deeper about all of the principles, and like to say more about like how, well, now that we know about the 8th principle, what do we do with it? It's good, some good follow-ons to things like this. This has been Digging Deeper with Reverend Douglas, and joining me today has been Keenan Taylor. Blessings upon you all.